Welcome to Carpool Conversations, where our goal is to help parents have meaningful, Christ-centered conversations with their kids. I'm Amy Lowe.
And I am Sara Jones. And today we're going to be talking about getting your kids ready for overnight camp.
This episode is laser focused, Sara. We're going to be really thinking about today how to prep and prepare moms and dads that are listening to get ready for that first overnight camp experience. And if you're a listener of our podcast, you know that Sara and I work year-round for WinShape Camps in our own lanes, working to equip and just get everybody ready for camp and those summer experiences. And so, you know, we have two passionate people right here that care a lot about camp. And the reason why we care a lot about it is because of the impact that we see every single week, every single session on the lives of the kids and also the parents. We could do a whole podcast on the benefits of camp. Yeah. But again, let's just kind of highlight some of them. Some of the ones that I see all the time are confidence. That's what I see. Probably number one is a camper gets dropped off at camp, maybe a little scared, a little overwhelmed. It's a big deal. But then they leave with that confidence that they did it and they experienced something and got to be independent. And so confidence is one thing. Healthy risk-taking is another benefit that I see a lot. Independence, growing socially. Those are just some of the benefits that I see. You have others.
Yeah. Actually, I'm glad you mentioned confidence. It actually, I think seeing the fruits of camp, of what they've done for camper year after year after year.
Keep coming back.
I started working for camp before I ever had a child. And so because I've been a part of this camp ministry, I've seen the fruits of campers maturing in their faith. It's what gave me the confidence to sign my first grader up for a 2-week overnight camp, is because I've seen the benefits that camp has done for kids.
Not only that, Sara, it benefits us as parents. And I think we don't see that at first. We think, oh, I'm going to feel guilty. I'm not going to be able to be ready for this personally as a parent. But it's so good for us as parents. And we get to see that too. We get to see parents drop off their kids, again, nervous. They're the ones crying when they leave because they are just nervous about this whole experience. But it's so good for us too because, Sara, we need a break. We need a break. And we need a chance to step away, let our kids realize that other people can take care of them. And I love when we see parents drop off together and then they say, bye, I'm going on a vacation, and it's a win-win because your camper is in good hands at camp, and then you get to go have a respite, have intentional time with your spouse where you get to just see each other's in the eyeballs and be able to just have conversations and it just be a really good respite for you as a parent. So not only is it a win for those campers, it's a win for you as a parent.
Yeah. For first timers, I actually get to talk to the moms and the dads who are really nervous about sending their child away for camp. And so I get to hear some of their fears of what may be holding them back. And sometimes the camper is ready to go and the parent is not ready. And then sometimes the parent is ready and the camper is not. And so, gosh, it's like this gray area of like, am I doing the right thing? Should I send them? Do I not send them? I'm not ready, but they are. And so I feel that tension and I get it as a parent. You're like, I am leaving my arms at camp with you. And I can't talk to you. So I get that fear could be a factor, but I am here to tell you that maturity, trying new skills, we offer some of the coolest skills at camp. Gymnastics, rock climbing, mountain bike riding, lake life.
So many fun things.
That they want to try.
And Sara, I get it too. It is hard to leave your kids. We live in a scary world that is overwhelming, and you don't know the counselor that's going to be in the room with your child. And so I get that. And that's why we're doing this podcast today, is to help you know that you're not alone. We're doing a whole podcast on this because you are not alone, and we understand and we want to help.
Yeah. So as you've said, Amy, the question on the table today is, how do I know when it is time for my child to experience an overnight camp? Because we know that every child's different. I know that my oldest is ready. My second born, he might need a few more years just based on his personality. And so as I've already said, I will be sending my completed first grader to the 2-week camp, and she is pumped.
She's ready.
She's ready. And I think a lot of like her nervousness is like, what does it look like? Where will I eat lunch? Where will I sleep? Who will my camp counselor be? And so just kind of painting a picture of what camp will be like for her has been really helpful. And so showing her pictures was really helpful as well. So we want to discuss today, how do I get my kid ready to experience an overnight camp? And Amy and I are going to discuss some of those things that we think will be helpful as you're making this decision.
And I mean, you hear it in and out every single day when you talk to our parents. And Sarah's going to really be an expert in this. But for me, my daughter is the introvert, and she's the one that just loves camp so much and just comes out of her shell and she tells us, she says, Mom and Dad, I don't think about y'all at all when I'm at camp. Not at all. She doesn't think about us. 2 weeks, not at all. And it's because she has so much fun, and she's learned that camp is a safe place and a fun place where she can just be herself. And she knows that we, plan every single thing to have fun and point her to Jesus, and she just loves it so much. My little guy, on the other hand, had to warm up to camp. He was nervous, and it took him a little bit. So the first summer it didn't, rock. The very first summer, he had to go back again, and now he loves it. But it took a second. So I think no matter where your kids are, just know that they might be a little bit different for each of them, and that's okay.
Yeah.
So let's get started. Number one, what is something that you can be thinking about? One of the things that we say is to help our kids get ready is, are they ready for activities of normal daily living? So activities of daily living, what do we mean by that?
Yes.
Number one, can they shower by themselves without your help? Like washing their own hair? Can they go to the bathroom on their own? They don't need you for any of that. Our staff, of course, can help with things like fixing their hair. I mean, my daughter, we got to work on the hair brushing. Even still, we can help with that kind of thing. But like going to the bathroom by themselves, they really do need to be able to do that alone. So that's one thing to think about as a parent is, okay, is my kid ready with these normal activities of daily life that they can just do on their own? And if they're not, then you can start there and start to help them kind of do that on their own. And that'll be one step that you can take.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because we've actually been practicing at home. I still help with the hair washing, and we have been practicing for about 6 months. Wow. It's like something we just do automatically, but we have to teach them. And so we've been practicing our hair washing.
Good.
So Mom, if you're listening and you have a younger camper, just go ahead and start practicing now, helping them understand that they will be washing their own hair, because safety is a huge, huge part of what we do at camp. And the camp counselor will not be allowed to help them wash their hair or go to the bathroom for safety reasons. Like the bathroom is your camper's safe place to get dressed, to shower, to wash their hair, to brush their teeth. And so
and isn't that so good for you as a mom and dad to work on to help get them ready? And then when you get them back from camp, they have just done all of that on their own for a week or two, and now they're off to the races,
Yes. I went on a 4-day work trip, and my husband was in charge. Our 4-year-old now dresses himself. I'm like, what happened while I was gone?
Win.
He's like, I taught him. Stop doing it for him. Oh, great. So I would say camp is a fantastic. You mentioned calculate risk. Yes, they're going to calculate risk. How do I want to do my hair today? My mom's not here to tell me to brush it. Or brush my teeth.
Talk some more about safety, Sarah, because you mentioned that was a big deal, and I 100% agree.
Yeah.
And I know you get that question.
Yeah. So we actually have a safety policy that we train our staff on, but we also, it's public knowledge. Like it's on our website. You can find our safety page and our policy. It's also listed in our camper handbook that we give every family who's a registered camper. Our safety procedures are in there. So that we want you to read over that so you have an understanding. Your camper will have an understanding. But that's listed. We can also list it in our show notes. Safety as far as nursing. We have around-the-clock nursing staff, 24/7. And so medications, if your camper does take a medication, it will be dropped off on day one. Your camper is not responsible, which we don't want them to be responsible for remembering to take their medication. The nursing staff will find them. They will hunt them down if they skip when it's supposed to be taken. And so all of our medication is blister packed as part of a safety standard that we have in place. Think of like a nursing home. We would, this is how I tell parents, we blister pack our medication so that there is zero error. We know that if the medication has been taken because it's missing out of that day's slot. And so when we have mass distribution of medication, we want to do it right. And so that's why we blister pack.
Yeah, and so many of our nurses are camp moms, which is so fun too.
Yes.
And my daughter especially, she gets to know the healthcare team and loves them and goes and chats it up with them, and they love it so much. It's such a huge peace of mind piece as a parent to send your kid to camp knowing that this whole healthcare team is there and they will call you if anything big happens that you need to know about. I've gotten some calls over the years, and they just take such good care of our campers, and they're pros, and we could not do camp without them. So really grateful for them. And the website, again, we're going to link it in the show notes. It's so helpful, and it gives you peace of mind. And it also helps you, just like you said, Sarah, it gives you talking points to go ahead and talk to your campers about before you send them, to just say, these are the rules that are in place, and here's why they're in place, so that they are ready to know that information and to live in that lane.
Yeah, Amy, I was going to say part of what makes a camper nervous about coming to camp for the first time is the unknown. And the more that we can prepare, the more information that you can give your camper, the better.
Totally.
Yeah.
Another thing that is concerning for a lot of parents, we've already alluded to it a little bit, is the fact that, okay, these summer staff that come and serve day in and day out at WinShape Camps are amazing, but you don't know them as a parent. And I would just love to speak to that from the side of camp that we're on. We work super hard to hire top-notch summer staff, and they go through an intense interview experience and a hiring process. And then we have background checks. We have references they have to complete. We do all of that work to get them set up beforehand before they come. And then when they come to camp, we have 2 weeks of training with them before they jump into camp. So 2 weeks is a long time to train for a summer experience. And they go over safety policies, the Bible study that they're going to be teaching. And another thing that we train them to do is to help them just be a great counselor, in that I want my campers in my cabin to just have a great experience. So we help them to learn about, okay, different kids have lots of different needs. Anxiety is big. We help them just be ready for the experiences that the campers are going to bring them, and we help train them to help the campers in their cabin have a great experience, to help them make friends, to help them be kind to another, to affirm each other with their words. I mean, it's just a beautiful thing that we're able to help these counselors learn and be ready for camp. And so I hope just to hear to be able to share with folks listening that we work really hard to get the best summer staff on those college campuses, and get them to camp and get them prepared so that they have a great experience. And they're able to just really look up to those counselors. And we love those stories.
Yeah, I love that we ask in the interview process, how did you meet Jesus? And how would you answer questions about who Jesus is?
And share with a camper about Jesus. Yeah, every single time.
I think because as I'm in my own teaching my children what it looks like to follow Jesus, I can say something and it goes in one ear and out the other. But for some reason, when a college age staffer says something, it's like a light bulb goes off. And so I love that we ask, how did you meet Jesus and how would you answer questions about who he is? I've already mentioned one child is so pumped and so ready to go to camp that she is going. She is not knowing a single soul in her. She's not going with a roommate request, but we do offer roommate requests. Maybe your camper is like, that sounds great. I would love to go to camp, but not alone. You can request a roommate. It is a mutual request between two people. I get a lot of questions about roommate requests when there's 3 people coming. I always just say, add a 4th girl to the mix. And the reason is because the logistics of the room, the setup, sometimes there's only 4 girls to a room, sometimes 5. And so we don't ever want to place 3 girls in a room that all know each other with 1 girl from California who doesn't know anyone. And so they already have that like tight friendship. We don't want, the 4th camper to be left out.
Yes.
So
100%. And I love that you share that because we do get that question a lot of, I have 3 people, and we get it. But that's the reason why, is so that we can not create those clicks automatically. We want everybody to feel like they have their spot. Another thing that we do really well at WinShape Camps is we give you lots of information to get you ready and prepared. And I'm just going to list some of the things that we give you to prep, because I think a lot of times when you sign up, it's like, I'm signing up and then I don't really know what to do after that. Well, we give you lots of information. As soon as you sign up and register and you get into our system, there are already documents there ready for you to read in your registration system. I think the safety policies in there, the honor code, the dress code, some medical things are in there. So automatically when you register, all of those things are in there. That's number 1. Number 2, you get monthly emails from our registration team letting you know all the things that are coming up that month, things to be thinking about for the future. Every single month, you're going to get one of those updates, so you're not going to miss something. Number 3, in the spring, we released something called the Parent Camper Handbook, and it has everything that you could need for camp. And it has like our dress-up nights, arrival information, camp store information. I mean, there's so much in there.
Packing list.
Yes, everything that you need. So that'll come out in the spring, usually March-ish is when it comes out. You will know when it's coming, and it'll hit the system where you go in and you can read. That's number 3. Number 4, we also have a new parent Zoom call the week before camp with our team so that you can hear directly from them about what to expect. You kind of get a chance to meet some of the leadership and ask questions. It's a really helpful thing for the new parents. So that is number 4. We also have a mom's Facebook group that is very active leading up to camp. So we'll get you in that once you register, and that's just a wealth of information. You're able to throw any question out there, and there's just so many moms ready to answer your question and give you their advice. So that's number 5. And then lastly, number 6, once your camper is at camp, we send you emails every single day so that you're in the know what's going on at camp that day. We post pictures every day to show you how much fun your child is having. And like I mentioned earlier, if there's any big issue, we'll call you and let you know. So we will not wait. You will know before you pick them up on Friday if there's anything that you can think of. And there might be other things that I'm missing, but those are just some of the things. And then also they can call your team, Sara, anytime.
That's right. We have an on-call staff over the weekends.
All the time.
We're there to answer in case there's a last-minute hiccup in the plans. Also, I've talked a little about preparing your camper before they get there, which is so beneficial if they're feeling nervous or anxious about coming. But we have 360 videos on our website that you can actually see the camp location, whether you're at our 1-week camp for boys or girls or at our 2-week for Barry. We have videos that you can actually watch, that our marketing team works really hard to make those current and new every year.
Yeah.
So check out those videos. They're really helpful.
I love it. We also, think about some people might be thinking, okay, well, what is the first step? We've already mentioned some things that you could be doing, but one thing I would say is we recommend day camps first, or even family camp first. If you're like, Amy, Sarah, I'm not ready yet to send my child by themselves away to an overnight camp. Well, try day camp. We have those all across the country. They're, 9 to 5, drop them off, pick them up. They get to experience WinShape Camps and get familiar with who we are. Or family camp is another opportunity. We take little kids up to big kids at family camp, and you're able to kind of experience WinShape and what that's like together as a family so that the kiddo gets comfortable. So we recommend that first. And then the next step could be to take them to a 1-week overnight camp. We have a few of those in North Georgia for 1 week. But then, if you're really ready, the next step after that is 2-week camp. And those are really fun and they fill up really fast. But it's just because it's such a wonderful experience for campers that they want to keep coming back.
Yeah.
And
what I love about day camp, it's kindergarten through 5th grade.
Yep.
And so our overnight camp is completed 1st grade. So you get to experience, if you have a day camp in your area, that you can go as a kindergartner and be introduced to what WinShape camps. That's what we did for our daughter. Yeah. And she loved it. She was like, can I go to overnight camp?
Go. Yep.
I'm like, you cannot. You're kindergarten. So not yet.
I think too, another thing that you can do, and many parents do this, but a lot of parents are nervous about it. I'm one of the nervous ones about it, is sending your kid to spend the night with somebody else for a little bit. The grandparents are just my go-to for that. So spending a 1 or 2 nights away from you with the grandparents is a good way for them to sort of say, okay, somebody else can take care of me for a few days and I can be without my mom and dad and it's okay. So that's another thing that you can do to help your kid feel ready for camp.
That's something that I actually ask a mom who's considering sending their son or their daughter. I ask if they're able to stay at a grandparent's house overnight and then not miss their family. And so that's kind of like for me, obviously you're the mom, you're the dad, you know your kid the best, and you know if they'll be able to thrive in a camp environment. And so you've got this Holy Spirit. I've already talked about this Holy Spirit guide to help you make the decision. But a funny story, my sister, actually, my niece is about to graduate high school and go to college. And I remember when Young Harris first launched, she was a completed 1st grader. And I said, you should send her to camp. I think it would be phenomenal. And she was ready. My niece was ready. My sister was not ready. She was so nervous. And she stalked the photographers every night. She was like, refresh, please just post a picture of my daughter. And my sister sent pre-addressed envelopes so that she could write home. And every day she was like, promise me you'll write me. And then when she didn't get a single letter,
that's what I was going to guess.
Letter. Yes. And she's like, gosh, she was having so much fun that she did not even stop for a second.
Yeah.
Like I wrote the address, I put stamps on the envelope and everything. So, and you know what she said when my sister came to pick her up? She was like, Mom, I did not have time to write you. I was having a blast. I know.
That's what we want.
I know.
I love it. Yeah, I see so many campers drop off and they're scared and crying because they're nervous. And then when they pick them up on Friday, you know what? They're crying again because they don't want to leave.
Yes. That's what I love about a closing program, are the girls that are sad to leave.
Yeah.
Some of them come back for another session.
Yep. Well, we hope this has been helpful to you as you think about and plan for sending your child to overnight camp for the first time. I know it can be scary, but believe me, moms and dads, you are doing a great thing by sending your child to camp. And I can't wait to hear the experience that they have and all the wins that come from it once you pick them up. I posted the other day in the Facebook group of, hey, y'all tell me some stories about how you were nervous and the wins that came from it. And we got so many comments that they were saying the exact same thing. They're like, yes, I was scared. Yes, I was scared, but I did it. And my camper thrived. And I get to just live in the wins of that on the flip side, whenever they come home. So
I actually just spoke with a mom who is a grandmother, and she said that her daughter came to camp not knowing anyone in the second grade, and her roommate that very first year, they came back until they were in 11th grade.
Sweet.
She said they were roommates in college.
No.
They were from 2 different states. Yeah, she said they were in each other's weddings. And now they were camp counselors together. One of them met her husband at boys camp in college. And so I just thought like, wow, what a sweet story that they met in second grade, not knowing anyone. They came to camp and then now they're having children together.
Yeah.
So I just love that. The reason why we do this podcast is to just encourage moms and dads to have intentional conversations with their kids. I love what we get to do with WinShape Camps in this ministry. It's a blast. But the question of the day we want to leave you with is, what are the things that would get you excited about going to camp? So when you get your child from school today, or maybe at the dinner table, as we are gearing up to start camp. So what are you most excited about? I know my daughter is going to say the nightlife events.
Yeah.
The dress up party. She is pumped. We just announced those. And so I can't wait to hear what your kiddos say. So thanks for listening, guys. See you next time.